Good morning, it's today again. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph and I store 20% of my income in the form of rare coins and precious metals. Today we're going to be doing something I haven't done in a little while. It's time to audit the stack. In part one, we're going to be looking at gold. Not just looking at it, I'm going to be counting it, weighing it, documenting it to see exactly where I stand. Congratulations to Barefoot Billy for getting to my comment section in my last video first. The race to the first comment really does push my channel, so thank you all for the support. Before I get into the video, I also want to mention Lake Conroe Gold. My family and I are finally opening up our own coin shop. We recently just signed a lease, which means we'll actually be opening doors for appointments only on August 18th, with a soft opening once we get all the jewelry cases and all the equipment in on August 24th. I'll be working on getting the website up and going this week and likely getting that up much earlier than the August 18th date. For the most up-to-date news, you can look up Lake Conroe Gold on Facebook to find our Facebook page and our business phone number. You can even call or text me directly. So let's get right into this video. Let's talk about why we would even be doing a stack audit. For me, it's pretty simple. The first reason is that if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. It's easy to get caught up when you're stacking individual purchases. You get an ounce of silver here, a few ounces there, maybe a 10th ounce or a quarter ounce gold, maybe some gold backs, and they add up very quickly. And right now, the timing couldn't be any more perfect. I've been dollar cost averaging every single week, and I'll be honest, some of those purchases didn't end up on my tracking sheet. And as of right now, with the opening of my own personal coin shop, the shop that I used to work at now sees me as competition, which honestly, they should. So they let me go, which makes a lot of sense. But what that means for me is that 20% of my income is about to look a lot different. So before I start getting into all the things that might mean, I need to do a stack audit to make sure I know exactly where I am as I start this journey. So when I was starting to film this, I realized I had two options. I could show you every single coin, or I can just lay them out and show an overall picture and let you either take a closer look or just tell you the amount at the end. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. But I really want to talk about why it's important to be doing stack audits. Why would this be something that someone does on a regular basis, and what can you take away from this? When most people hear stack audit, they probably think, okay, you're just going to count your gold and silver. And yes, that is part of it. But that's really only the first step. I'm not interested in how many ounces I have. I'm interested in what those ounces are doing inside of my portfolio. Because gold and silver aren't perfectly interchangeable. They have different characteristics. They behave differently. They have different levels of volatility, and I use them differently. For me, gold is more of like a stable foundation, while silver is more tactical. And because I use them in different purposes for each metal, I don't necessarily want my portfolio to become overwhelmingly concentrated in one metal. So my goal isn't simply just get as much metal as possible. My goal is to build the right portfolio of metals for the strategy that I am following. And that's two very different things. I find myself doing this every few months, and I realize that I could probably do this once a year, but the thing is, I don't want to be drifting away from where I'm wanting to be for an entire year. Especially with prices rising so quickly, it could take multiple years to get back on track. In addition, as prices move, the percentages of the portfolio change even if I don't make a single transaction. Let's say you start with a portfolio that's relatively balanced between gold and silver. Gold then has a massive run-up. Even though you haven't bought any gold, the gold in your stack would have a higher value than the silver. Now it's possible silver outperforms gold even in that massive run-up, and then the silver would be outvaluing the gold. And yes, I check these percentages based on my spreadsheet more regularly than just every few months, but what this does is it actually makes it so that I can completely update and make sure that my spreadsheets are accurate every once in a while. I see this as almost like a financial checkup. Imagine if you had a retirement account. You wouldn't just put money in it for 20 years and never look at what's happening. You'd periodically check the allocation, you'd see what's performing, you'd see whether your risk has changed, and if you'd like to rebalance if necessary. I'm doing something very similar with physical precious metals, except instead of looking at stocks and bonds, I'm simply looking at ounces of gold. And that's another reason I really love doing these audits, because there's something very fascinating about pulling out all of the physical precious metals that you have and seeing it all in one place. You get to see the actual progress, not just numbers on a screen, not just a line on a spreadsheet. You can physically look at the wealth that you've accumulated. But I also don't want this feeling to replace analysis. The audit isn't just look at how much gold I have. It's where am I? Where am I trying to go, and what should I do next? Those are the questions I'm going to be answering over the next couple weeks. The where am I is the quick, easy, simple one to answer. I can just count it all up and find out where I am. Where I'm trying to go is a little bit of a deeper question, but that'll help me figure out what to do next. My current goal is to keep my portfolio of metals within a certain balance, a certain percentage towards gold, a certain percentage towards silver, some towards platinum, eventually palladium, and some even in numismatics. And once I find that these ratios have drifted either by me adding more through purchases or just the price movement, I will slowly reallocate some of those metals into another one. I find that as time goes on, my risk tolerance will change and I'll likely want more of that percentage to be in a more stable asset, for example, like gold instead of silver. So a lot of those reallocations have been during times of high volatility, especially when the GSR dropped significantly back in January. I traded a lot of silver into gold, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work the other way around. A little over 2 years ago, even, gold significantly outperformed silver, and I actually traded some gold into silver. Even if we look at the last few months, when everything has been drifting downward, gold still has been outperforming silver. Really, it's that gold tends to outperform silver in a bear market, and silver tends to outperform gold in a bull market. If you're unfamiliar with those terms, really all I mean is that when overall metals tend downward, that means that gold is going to keep its value better. And usually when all the metals are trending upward, gold typically moves a little slower than the other metals. Gold is simply just more stable. That's why I find it's very important to diversify within this metal space. You definitely want some gold and silver. Consider platinum and even numismatics. Some of the most beneficial trades I've made recently were when silver ran up in January, I traded some silver for numismatics. In fact, some numismatics even move opposite to precious metals or even slower than gold at times. But I'm just about done laying out all of this gold, so let's add it all up. I have 5 1-ounce gold coins, 8 quarter-ounce gold coins, 25 1/10 ounce gold coins. Between the circulated gold, that's 10 US dollars, 10 Netherlands guilders, 4 1/4 British sovereign, 150 French francs, 11.5 pesos, and a 4 ducat. I also have 7 1-gram bars, 1 5-gram bars, 3 1/100th of an ounce gold bars or rounds, and 1 200th of an ounce gold round. And of course, we can't forget about the 18.5 gold backs. Last but not least, I also have this 1995 10th anniversary Eagle set. This includes a proof 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, and 10th ounce, as well as the proof silver. But we'll get to silver another time. So altogether, this makes 15.64 ounces of gold. At today's spot value, that's $67,703 worth of gold right here on my desk. Since this is eventually going to be inventory for my coin shop, I'm wondering which coins I'll have a year from now. And really what I end up doing with this amount of gold. Am I going to be consolidating it into 1 ounce products, maybe moving more towards quarter-ounce products, or more into a numismatic collection? Either way, I have some thinking to do and some time to figure it out. So if you like this video, make sure you go down and give it a thumbs up. Go into the comment section for any questions, comments, or to start a conversation or continue one. Share the video if you know someone that may like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. To my long-term subscribers, thank you so much for your continual support. Make sure you go to josephsreserves.com and check out Lake Conroe Gold. But most of all, thank you so much for watching. And just remember, every ounce adds up, so no matter how small, just keep stacking.